Welcome back to Uppers. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about two incidents that happened. Well, I want to say when we were about, I want to say our late teens. I'm talking about maybe like 17, 18, 19 years old, something like that. And these two incidents happened at my friend William Robinson's grandma house. Now, one of these incidents, well, both of these incidents deal with the same people, only two different separate situations. Now, both these incidents are dealing with gasoline and fire, two things that don't mix, and you shouldn't try to mix them together. So, okay, we're gonna start with the first one. Now, this is on. I want to say this is on Christmas break. You know, Christmas holidays. You know, you get out of school, you're out for 2 weeks, and we were famous for having bonfires at William's grandma's house because they had about 22 acres out here on the side over here by the, you know, well, back then it was outside city limits. Now it's inside. They redrew the lines, but so we were famous for throwing bonfire parties. And what we did is at this time, Billy had the idea that he wanted to make the fire even bigger than the last time. And mind you, the last time the bonfire, the wood itself was stacked up about maybe 4.5 feet. So when we lit the fire and it was roaring, that those flames went up about 10 feet. So he said, "We got to make it bigger and better, guys. Bigger and better." That were his exact words. So there we go. We go off into the bush and we start collecting wood. We collected pallets. We knocked down a tree that was already dead that we were going to use to the main trunk of that tree to kind of stack the wood on top of it in a teepee form like we always did. And so there goes William, and he's throwing gasoline on it, you know, trying to get it soaking, ready for, you know. So all we gotta do is light it, because we used to have a countdown from 10 to 1, and then we would light the sucker, and then the music would come on, and you know, the whole area would start. So there we are restacking the wood, and at this point, this thing is literally, I want to say about six, no, yeah, I want to say about 6 to, no. It was about 9 to 10 feet tall, and that was just the wood part of it, not the flames, the wood part. So William starts throwing gasoline on it, and somewhere in that, where he was throwing gas on the wood, soaking it, he managed to spill a large amount of gasoline on his boot, on his right boot to be exact, and a little bit on his pant leg. So, I mean, we were running late because, you know, it took a little bit of more work than we thought to build this fire up the way we wanted it. So he didn't get to take a shower and get dressed or anything. I didn't get, nobody did really. So people started showing up, you know, because at a certain hour it was time to show up. About 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was time to show up to William's grandma's house. So so they count to 10. You know, we had about maybe 25, 30 people there already, you know, friends of friends, you know, people getting there with alcohol and beer and all kinds of recreational party favors, if you would. Yeah. Okay, so they start counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, says, okay, we get to 1. William turns it on, and them flames are going up about, I want to say 12 to 15 feet high. Now, mind you, in these days, we were all a little bit, we were all younger and stupider. But William, especially, because William was the crazy one of all of us. And William at that time, he was the fastest one of all of us. He was in track and all that, running back for the football team. So he was the fastest one of all of us. He was fast, you know, I mean, grease lightning fast. So at some point, this jackass decided to get a running start and jump over the bonfire, or attempt to jump over the bonfire. Now, it could have gone really wrong. He could have fallen right into it, or he could have, whatever. But there was no stopping him when he decided to do something stupid. And at this point, me, his little brother David, Nameless, which is another friend that, he'll come out in these videos, but I'll never name him because he did something he shouldn't have done, and I won't name him because of the lack of respect. But old Nameless and Jesse, Manuel, there was some girls there, and everybody was just there, and they were all looking at Williams like, do it, do it, do it. And me and David were just looking at each other like, and William was like, so William gets about 100 yards of a running start. So he runs and he clears it. He literally cleared it by about 1.5 feet. Unfortunately, if you recall earlier that day, he had actually spilled gasoline on his boot. The leather absorbed the gasoline. And when he jumped over the fire, his boot caught on fire. And the bottom of his pant leg. And we're there jumping up and down, throwing dirt on his feet, trying to put him out. And it wasn't working. I mean, because it had seeped into the leather. So at that time, he had a pond in the back of his house where we used to do some catfishing and all that. So he decided to and he was jumping up and down trying to put himself out, and it just wouldn't work. So he took off running towards his pond, and that pond was maybe like 60, 70 yards down that ways. So he decided to run that way, and as he was running, the dead grass that was in the way started catching on fire. So there's me and David going with the water hose and kicking out these little fires that he's starting, but he jumped feet first into the pond and put himself out. So, but when he did that, he actually jumped straight, and he ended up getting stuck in the mud of the sediment of the pond. So we ended up having to go, and Jesse and Manny, we all had to find a rope to try to get him out. And I mean, it was freaking hilarious. I mean, it was just funny. Sorry about that, guys. These kind of things were always happening to William because William honestly just didn't give two shits about. We're just living our best lives, and that's why nowadays we see these, we can't even get together without getting in trouble. We can't get together without getting in trouble. Every time we get together, something stupid happens to us. So something always has to happen to us, but but did you die? No. And of course, YOLO, you only live once. But the second part of this story was it was a September weekend, and it was the opening of dove season. And at this point, a lot of dove were flying over his property. So we decided to sit out in his front yard and shoot dove from his front yard. And we were gonna make a barbecue and all that. So his little brother David, at this time, I think David must have been, I want to say maybe 10, 11 years old at the time. And he wanted to help us, so we let him put the fire, because he always wanted to put the fire. He was always watching me do it, watching William do it, so he wanted to try to do it. So we let him put the fire, and so me and Billy over here shooting doves as they came over the top of the roof, whatever. And then I saw one that was on a power line a little bit further down, so I decided to walk towards it and see if I could spook it up and shoot it. And as I was walking, all of a sudden the wind kind of shifted, and I smelled like plastic burning. And I turn around, and his little brother is coming up to me with a gasoline tank with flames shooting out of it. I mean, there was flames shooting out of the nozzle and out of that little hole in the back. And I kind of just knocked it out of his hands, and it went rolling towards William, where William was sitting. So William got up, jumped up on top of the chair, and literally somehow he was able to climb up on the top of the roof of his house and out the other side. And I ran in the opposite direction and I jumped over a table with a bunch of stuff underneath it to kind of get, like, I thought the thing was gonna explode. But apparently the gas itself wasn't ignited yet. It was just the not the liquid gas, but the gas that's in between the space of the plastic and the actual gasoline. Apparently the fumes had lit, and that's what was burning. But the tank hadn't melted yet. So once it melted, it was gonna pop and spread all over the place. And so we decided to, start hosing it down and all this stuff. And what we just decided to do is just chunk it in the pond, and if it would just sink and put itself out. So we ended up just chunking it in the pond. And then we went up to David. Is like, dude, what was that all about? How did that happen? He goes, I was trying to light the fire, and I got this stick, and it had a little bit of fire on it, but I wanted more fire on it, so I stuck it inside the tank to put more gas on it, so that it would get more fire. And I'm like, you stuck a lit branch into a gasoline tank so that it would get more fire. And he goes, yes. And I'm like, makes sense. Nah. So at this time, we're just there, and me and William are looking at each other like, this could have ended really bad. Real bad. And these are some of the things that, that we went through as young adults, man. Like, we went through some stuff, man, as young adults. I mean, I don't know if kids today have these kinds of stories, or are gonna have these kinds of stories when they get to my age. But man, we had some adventures, dude. When I come back the next time around, I'm gonna tell you about how we went to, how do we do it? And this one has, what happened? See, I'm already like, I'm 39 years old. I'm getting old. So, just anybody asks, it was all William's fault. It's always Billy's fault. He's the crazy one. He's the one that you couldn't say no to. He's the one, it's gonna be okay. You only live once. He was crazy. But now, he's married, and he's not so crazy anymore, and that's why his wife won't let him out alone with us, because we end up getting this dumb shit. And but yeah, did we? I mean, you gotta wonder. I mean, how, when you have a friend, how do you know that person is your friend? You know what I'm saying? Now, Billy, my homeboy Billy, I mean, we've known each other since pre-kinder. So me and this cat, we've been friends for the majority of our lives. Now, we have gone with years without talking to each other, without even looking for each other, because I understand he's doing his thing, he understands what I'm doing my thing. So, but when shit hits the fan, there he is. There David is. And there my homeboy Manny is. I mean, my homeboy Ruben, Hector. These are friends that I have made over years of stuff happening to us, and, all this crazy stuff that happened to us. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know a friend from just a whatever. And you got to be careful, because there's friends out there like that, man. There's friends out there that are plotting on you. There's friends out there that are envious of you. There's friends out there that don't want to see you succeed. But you think they're your friends. But they ain't. But there's an old saying that says, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. I'll leave you with that little note. But when I come back on the next video, we're gonna talk about some other stuff, and I still gotta do. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's gonna be a fishing video that I do because we only had like maybe one for shooting, and we had like three for fishing. I mean, the channel's is still getting, it's still situated itself. I know that I've been up and down with my content, so we're gonna try and get back on track. I'm gonna keep doing these stories. If y'all want to hear it, I'm gonna keep talking about, we're just gonna keep going and going until we find something that works for us, right? But if you like these stories and you want to hear more about William's crazy ass, go ahead and leave a comment below and you let me know, because there's a lot of stuff, and there's some stuff his old lady doesn't know about, but there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna be talking about here pretty soon. But if you want to hear more stories, or you want to see some fishing videos, or you want to see me turn my hot dog stand back on, and you want to see some some street food videos off of my hot dog stand, or let me know what you all want to see, and I'll try my best to make a video about it. Now, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.